Well, hello. This is Mike Siver back again with my friend Earnest. And today we're going to talk about repairing broken adults and the word try. And I've written a chapter in my book on the word try. And we've heard so many times from different people, and I go to the jail on Monday nights and talk to the inmates on, I've tried to quit using drugs, but I can't. I tried to do this and I can't. I tried to keep my relationship together, but I can't. I tried to keep my job, but I can't. Well, the question that starts to come up is, why can't you? Right. And Ernest and I are talking, and this becomes pretty passionate on a lot of times. And I hope we can get some timing done here because my timer's not working now. Okay. So we're going to try and figure this out in a minute.
Bill is short with the blue screen.
He'll take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have talked about this, and I did get kind of passionate. We both have several ideas as to why. Today, our teenagers don't think they're going to live past 30, so I call it stupid stuff. They're going to be mad if they won't, but I got a bunch of teenage grandchildren. So they try to live their lives in a concentrated version.
And where I guess we come from is they do all this stuff because, but where does that come from? And we've talked enough on these shows, and I hate to keep doing it, but we're going to put it back on the parents. Right. In the early raising of children, their ideas about life come from the parents or single parent, whatever the case may be. And the problem we find, and I find talking to young people in the jails, is they got those ideas mentioned to them, but they never had to practice them.
Something we were just talking about, marijuana. Yeah. I had a 6-year-old kid tell me that her big sister smoked marijuana, her mama smoked marijuana. She didn't say it like that, but I knew that's what she was getting across. She said, well, I'll be glad when I get big so that I can smoke weed. And this is a 6-year-old kid saying, when I get 12, 13, because I see everybody do it, I want to smoke weed. Those, even if our parents had done stuff back when we grew up, we didn't see it.
But that's fine, and I understand where they're coming from, but when you have, in the state of Michigan at this particular time, unless you have a medical marijuana card and you're authorized to grow, it's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
And that's just the bottom line, and I hate to say that. And there's also so much, we're not going to go into that right now, but there's so much evidence how detrimental marijuana is to young people. Now, maybe when you're older and you're chronically pain, and I understand all that. I really do, and I support that. But today, it's illegal. And you can come up with 10,000 reasons listening to the TV and reading articles on why marijuana is better than alcohol. But it's just as damaging, but in a different way.
Yes.
And our problem is, that I have as an adult, is the kids are making these decisions today, and it's hard to understand why it's okay. It's like I was talking to a young person earlier on about cutters, kids that cut themselves. Why do they cut themselves?
Got 2 of them.
And he said, I don't really know why they cut themselves. Maybe it's just to enjoy the pain. And I said, no, nobody wants to enjoy pain. What cutters get out of cutting is the release of pain.
Right. And
the good feeling when it stops.
We compare cutters, young cutters are compared to drug addicts.
Yeah.
Okay? They want to escape. So by cutting, they escape the reality in their head that they don't want to deal with.
And the pleasure you get from when cutting stops is huge. I mean, I got a couple tattoos, and in a place I have a tattoo, one of my tattoos, it hurt so much that I told him at the time he could go ahead and cut my arm off. I didn't care. Right. Just take it off because it hurt so bad. Right. But when he stopped, about 10 minutes later, the greatest feeling of euphoria came over me. I thought, that's what it's about. But what makes that okay on a regular basis? What's missing from some of these children's upraising that doing negative things is okay?
They do negative things to get attention. Because the children, we used to have positive stuff to do, positive ways to get attention. The children today don't. They do stuff to get attention. even if it's negative attention, those saying they're
Yeah.
going to get attention even if it's negative.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've used my great-granddaughter as a barometer. When I said, on one of the other shows I talked about, we went to Chicago, she acted a certain way in my sister's house compared to how she acts at home. She expects the confrontation. She expects negative stuff. So she does negative because that's what she gets back. And then she enjoys the conflict. She's 3 years old. And she's learned these techniques at 3 years old to get attention.
Well, we have to deal with that now in our prison system. And I talk to the inmates on a regular basis, and I go to the jail, and I ask them the same questions. What in your mind made it okay for you to do what you did to get here? And some of them are very serious, some are just misdemeanors, and some of them should be in there.
Right.
But that's beside the point. And they said they can't answer the question
Right.
because they know it's not all right, but something at the time overrode that. And I asked them to put their family and their life and their future in one hand, their substance and drug of choice in the other hand, and make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when you pick this, you've picked that drug of choice over everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else seems to matter. Now you're caught. Now there's a principle. Now I'd rather pick the family and my future and school over that. But in the meantime, I picked that. Why is that okay? And what's missing from what we've done?
A prime example of what you're talking about, interfaith homes, everybody call it Pat Wood, ain't no such place. But there was a stabbing.
Right.
Young lady stabbed her soon-to-be stepmom, whatever.
Yep.
She's in jail today.
Well, welcome back. We're going to continue on with this conversation on the word try. Ernest was talking about the faith home?
Interfaith homes.
Interfaith homes,
I
yeah.
was talking about the incident that happened in Interfaith Homes a couple of days ago. Young lady was stabbed by her fiance's daughter, if I've got this right. And the young lady was arraigned yesterday, and she still hasn't given a reason as to why she stabbed this woman to death. I mean, so you're talking to a 20-year-old, I think they said she was 20.
Right.
If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But she stabbed this woman to death, and she don't know why. You know, they got into some kind of confrontation. She runs and gets a knife and stabs this woman. So there's no thought as to what my outcome is. It's just this anger.
Well, and that's where we're going. Never having taught problem solving, maybe,
Right.
conflict resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, these are fancy words to say, but we all were taught those as younger, and you got to control your anger, and this is how you do it.
And I hate to say some of the stuff that I see on TV is actually true, but when you look at a lot of them kids, they've grown up playing video games that are so violent.
Yep.
And so, Call of Duty, okay? All you do is kill people.
Right.
It's kill people. And now you can play online. You know, it could be me, you, Bill, Ken, all of us is playing in different states.
Well,
You know?
you talked about it when we were out there before the show started, was the value of life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's such little value. What do you value anymore? And, we're talking some more about writing a book on your name. My name, to me, is important now.
Right.
It didn't used to be.
Right, I know the feeling.
And your name is important to you now because you've established yourself working with youth, and you do anything that jeopardizes that, everything you put into it's gone.
Right.
And I was talking to a young high school student, he's a senior, going to graduate this year, if he's not already graduated, about the value of his name and what he's going to do and his grades and how it's important to have good grades attached to his name, to him.
Right.
And he feels there's a value system there. Well, he was taught right. And I'm sorry if this offends some parents out there, but we got to call it what it is and deal with it the way it is. This young fella is proud of who he is, proud of what he's accomplished. He's got a responsible job, and he's going on to college. And he's got a goal. He's got a focus. And that's so important for him. And I asked him some personal questions about, what do you think about people who do this? And we talked a little bit about cutters. And he didn't understand it either.
Well, you know, I want to say this because I've thought about it. The crack epidemic put a lot of people my age and younger and older into addict status. Now, a lot of them teenagers, their parents were addicts. So they come home from school, there was no food. All the food stamps were gone. All the money was given to the dope dealers. They became dope dealers at 12 and 13 years old. Now they got $4,000 or $5,000. So they think they're in control. And they work to a degree. Another addict would do anything. Yeah, I'll let you use my car. Excuse me, I'll go in the store and steal for you. I'll run to the store for your mama. I'll cut your grass, your mother's grass. Just give me some dope. And what they became was thinking they were powerful. The money made them think that they were powerful at 12, 13, 14 years old. So I'm a dope dealer. I think I'm powerful. Anybody will trade me a gun for my dope. So now I got a gun, I got a pocket full of money. I got somebody's car that rent it to me. I don't give a damn if I tear the car up or crash it, whatever. I just go rent another. So they began to think they were powerful, that they were gangsters. And we watched it go to younger and younger. When I was growing up, he was 19, 20 when you did that. Then it dropped down to 15, 16. Now they got 13-year-old kids. In fact, in a program, another program I'm in, and I work with some people and I talk about some stuff, you know, the dope boys with one name, Pookie and Jimmy and John, and, you know, and they had power because they had that drug. You know, I know one in particular, I won't call his name, but we have children by sisters. And I watched him start at 14 and literally become a multimillionaire. He went to jail for racketeering at the age of 22, but he had a whole organization of drug dealers put together. And he went to jail for 10 years at about 22, 23. He came out at 33, and he told me he has over $15 million put away. Most of them don't do that. But he was ruthless from 16 to 20.
And what makes that okay? And does he become a symbol for the younger ones to come along? And if he does, they can't all be like him. And most of those are either going to get shot for their money, shot for their drugs, or whatever, or arrested in prison for their selling drugs and dealing with them. And that's a whole world out there that's, why is that okay?
It's not, but they think it's a status symbol, like we talked about in the other room. Okay, and you know, I realized something was wrong when I would get pictures from my son and other young men in jail, and they'd be posing, you know, like it's cool to be in jail. You know, they had signs, I'll be out. The only sign I would have if I was in jail is let my behind out. You know, and them ain't the words I wanted to use. But Ken mentioned that you shoot somebody or you go to prison, it's like a status symbol. I had a brother-in-law, he's paying not paying necessarily financially for what he did, but we had almost a physical confrontation, because between 14 and 18, he went to jail 12 times. And I'm like, you know, I was joking, but serious. I said, man, why don't you just ask the judge for a key? And it save everybody a lot of time. You know, mama won't be crying. We won't be trying to bail you out. You just go in like Otis did on and most people can't relate to that, but you can. Like Otis did on Mayberry. You know, he knew what he did. He knew it was wrong. He just go let himself in jail. But we have young children, and I have grandchildren, so I see this. I have one in jail. I got another one trying to sell. And you know, I got a grandson that just robbed a bank or tried to rob a bank.
We've got about 10 seconds left now.
So it's...
We're going to carry on this conversation because I think it's really important, and I hope people will look at it and get the email and email us, Ernest and I both. This show is okay. You know, we were talking on the last show about the young fellas in jail, how it's a status symbol and all this kind of stuff. And yet I talk to young inmates that come out of jail, or they come out of prison, and we have some groups that we meet for people on parole. And they'll say, yeah, I was smart when I went in. I thought I knew it all, and I had this status behind me, and I did all this and did all that. And I got there thinking I was going to be all that. And he said, all I got, year after year after year, was the older guys telling me not to do it.
Right.
This is your life. And the one sound, and I don't know where you've been, but I know I've been there, and the sound that you never forget is the closing of that cell door. Now, it makes a thud, a bang, a clank, or whatever, but you'll never forget it.
Right.
And that closes every night and doesn't open till the morning,
Right.
and you have no power.
None.
Now, if that's what you think is cool, where did that come from?
Right. Where did it come from?
Where did that come
Insanity.
from? And we've got to somehow stop. And I keep, this gets said all the time. I mean,
Right. We can continue and talk about, we know what it is, and you said earlier, how do we solve it?
Yeah.
And how do we ask the parents and grandparents for help to solve it? You're a very talented writer. And, I've read 1.5 of your books, although I have 3 of them. I lent one to my therapist, and she's still reading it. But I went to a group. She asked me to help her with a group. I helped her with this particular group. And one of the guys in the group, he don't mind me saying this, we're in 2 different groups together. But he's a young man, and the drug court is forcing him to go. I'm not going to disclose any names. But we talked about some things. He doesn't mind me talking about this. But he was talking about in the group how he's roughly 19, 20 years old now, and he's trying to get felonies cleared up. And he said between the ages of 13 and 17, he had 8 felonies.
it's hard to get those taken care of because you become habitual. And what so many of us talk about, and when they go into prison, they go in with an attitude. I'm going to be all that, and I'm hot, and I'm going to come back out into the community. And when you come back out into the community, a lot of guys that you hung with and run with don't want you around.
Right.
Because you got a paper trail. And the police are going to watch you. And everywhere you go, they're going to take names of everybody you're with. So you think you're going to come back out of jail into the community and be the hot shot? They don't want you.
And it's like, I had to go way back with that. I've done a lot of bad things when I was a teenager. I grew up in Chicago in the projects. Bill and I grew up in areas in Chicago that were very bad. But I remember I was headed that way. And I stole some hubcaps one time. Because I live close to what's now the United States, used to be a stadium. So not a racist thing, just a money thing. When white people would come and park to go to the game, we'd ask to watch their car. They'd give us $2. Excuse me, they'd give us $2. And one of my uncles came down one time, he said, boy, what you doing? I said, no, they're paying me to watch their car. He said, no, they ain't. He said, they're paying you so they don't steal from their car. Because that's what they think.
Yeah.
That was not my intent. Never thought that I'd get the $2 as soon as you walk halfway down the street, I'd go to the next guy.
Yep.
But I was still in hubcaps. And one of my other uncles who taught me how to drive my own trucks, he asked me a very simple question. Do you have a car? I was like, no, I ain't gonna get a car. You said when I get 16, you'll help me build one. He said, okay. So the next question is, what the hell are you gonna do with the hubcap? Because you have nothing to put it on.
Yeah.
So why are you stealing? It ain't like you taking them and selling them. You just stealing to be stealing.
Yep.
And it's not benefiting you at all. So maybe just that little bit as a youth kind of directed me in a different way. But your book asks, why did I do that? And 90% of the youth we ask today, they can't tell you why they did it.
No, they don't. And that's the hard part. And it's a frustrating part for
us,
because there's a whole generation of us out there now that are starting to ask the question, why? Why did we let it get this far? Why didn't we stop it? How do we stop it?
Right.
And how do we turn this around? And I don't have the answer. I've got some ideas. You've got some ideas. And I'm working with as many youth as I can. You're working with as many youth. I work with families and parents.
And I'm working with young adults now with my therapist, but how do we stop it?
And we're always open for invitations. Anybody sees my email address on there. Ernest is on there now and then, his email address.
And my phone number is up there. Y'all know I'm a phone person.
There it is. There's
269-217-3325.
Call us up if you want to be on the show.
Yes, please.
If you think we're just talking crap through our mouth, let us know.
Right.
And I can handle the feedback because we want to improve the quality of what we're doing.
I encourage the feedback.
I encourage it too. And if you want to come on this show and sit in one of our seats, or get a third seat and sit in Manila, and go after us both,
Please do.
come on board. Come on board, and maybe you have an answer that we can't think of.
Yeah, maybe you can give us some ways to help stop this. And maybe we can stop your children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren from doing some of the stuff that some of mine has done. Because we still have a lot of kids out there doing positive stuff. It's not all the children, but it's a whole lot of them. And a whole lot of young folks are doing stuff. Again, I've heard my grandson and some other children, I'm not going to live to be 30.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But why, we talked about that. I'm not going to let you be 30, so I'll do as much damage as I can. I'll have as much fun as I can.
Right.
If that includes taking someone else's life,
They do it.
why is that okay? Just because you don't want to live past 30, why do you have to take that person's life?
You know, I could tell this in about 2 minutes, real quick. Me and my son.
You got 30 seconds.
That's all 30 seconds? I'll do it on the last segment. But my son and I went to a football game where his son was playing in the game. And at halftime, I could do it in 1 minute. At halftime, we went to the concession stand. Coming back from the concession stand, it was another father that went with us. Coming back from the concession stand, we kind of split up and sat down. My son said, Dad, when I was a little kid, I used to hug him. Me and him, they shot at each other because I lived on one side of town and he lived on the other side of town. I said, now y'all here watching y'all sons play ball together and y'all here together.
Right.
So all of that crap y'all did when y'all was teenagers about which side of town wasn't no importance at all.
It never ends up being important.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, because when it's all said and done, and I've got a little quote I'm going to say when we come back on the next segment, but there is so much that's wasted,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much talent out there with these young kids. I have a friend who turns out to be a wonderful painter.
Okay.
We're on our last segment here now, segment 4 of this short series we're doing on try, and we talked about in the beginning about people. I try to change my life, but I can't. I try to stop eating, but I can't. I try to stop drinking, but I can't. Well, why can't you is the question, and then we have to get more personal on what it is in their life that says trying and failing is okay, because people accept it if you try. Well, at least you're trying. At least you're trying. So that's okay to fail. It's okay to quit, because at least you're trying.
Right.
Well, that's wrong. Trying is one thing, and trying is okay for a jury trial, for trying an experiment. Those are all fine. But in life, if you learn to accept try as a quit or a failure,
Mm-hmm.
then that's what your life's going to be when you become an adult. And so many people, I think, as you said earlier, are, well, I'm going to quit because at 30 I'm going to be dead. So why do I want to do all this energy into working hard, providing, getting married, living appropriately, have some integrity, when I'm going to be dead at 30 anyway?
Right. And that's what they think. A lot of them think that 2 years ago or so, they had a shooting on the south side. 13-year-old got shot by like a 15-year-old. And they were having a party outside around a holiday. And the one that did the shooting came back 4 times and told him, I'm going to kill you today. I'll kill you
Wow.
today. In front of all these other people. They called the police 3 times. 3 times the police came and 3 times the police left. The boys came back and shot him and killed him. Another incident they had last summer, and we know that these were good kids. One of them got a gun. Him and his best friend out there. He playing with the gun, he shoots his best friend, turns around and kills himself because he didn't kill his best friend. First time ever dealing with a gun. Good kids, high school kids, going to school, doing the right thing. Kill his best friend and he don't know how to accept that. So he commits suicide. Because they see, I don't know, I want to say they see that as the end of something. And
Yeah.
I don't know why they think prison and death or killing someone makes them important.
I don't know, it's what you see on TV, like you said also. I think, you can't blame TV for everything.
Right, we can't.
But I know there's a lot of violence on it right now, and these games that they play are not all of them are violent, but most of them are, because that's what they get enjoy out of.
And then if you watch the TV, you look at Chicago, Detroit, any major city, they watch them do all that gangbanging,
Yeah.
kill people, make hundreds of thousands of dollars, kill each other. They killed a 9-year-old kid because they couldn't get to his dad, execution style, a gang. And he wouldn't help them out. He wanted to go back and retaliate himself. So it's sad.
Well, how do we need some help, guys.
Yes.
People out there listening to this, watching this, we need some help. We got to start something, and Kalamazoo, we think, is the place to start.
Okay.
And we want to get together with a group of people that feel that they've got some ideas, and maybe you're just one person with an idea. I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that. Well, contact us. Come on the show. Come in the studio and talk to us. See what we can do. We can find 5 people like you who wished I could do this or wished I could do that. Now we have a team together. Mm-hmm. With a team of people, we can do things. We have to do something, or we're going to be in self-destruct mode here in the next years. We're in it now.
Right.
We're in it now. We want to try and get past it.
What's the old saying is, if you plan to fail, I mean, if you don't make a plan, you're planning to fail.
Yeah. And so many people don't know how to make a plan.
They don't.
And
that's why they're dying at such a young age, because there's nothing, they have not made a plan to live to be 35 or think they could live to be 35. And it's very important that y'all help us reach out to these kids. Because again, I always like to say it could be yours. A simple way of me saying that is Christmas came, I didn't buy my grandkids no Superman suits with an S on it. I didn't buy bulletproof vests for Christmas. Mine are just as vulnerable as anybody else's out there.
And when we talk about what we're trying to do, we talk about today the kids, when something goes wrong, it's a major disaster. Mm-hmm. Oh, so-and-so said this, or so-and-so did this. And it becomes a huge issue. Well, there was an old saying about small stuff. Mm-hmm. Don't sweat the small stuff, right. Because in the end, it's all small stuff.
Right.
And somebody may have done something to you this year. In 12 months, it's gone.
And then with sports and stuff like that, at some point they came up with the idea that being second place was the first losers.
Yeah.
But I remember I was talking to a young man several years ago. Don't make this real quick. And the Olympics had went on, and he said if he got the bronze medal, the third place, mm-hmm. he would throw it away. And I said, "What did you say?" He said, "That just means I was the second loser." I said, "That don't mean you the best runner in your block. That don't mean you the best on your city. That don't mean you the best, in your state, in your country. That was the third best in the world.
Yeah.
And if you third best at any point, you could have been first or second, or you couldn't have been as close enough to be third. So you saying that you would not take that medal because you didn't win the top prize in the whole world." And I thought that was so sad that our children think like that.
Where does that come from? We get back to the same question about
Right.
Why did I do that, and where does that come from? Mm-hmm. And we're appealing for help out there. We'd love to have some people contact us and say, "Look, I got an idea." No matter how hard, we'll do some fundraisers. We'll do what we have to do to make something. If you bring us to us, that's a solid issue, a solid example. Well, let's see if we can make it happen. We're just about out of time now, and thank you very much for your attention. I hope we've got somebody that's going to write in and talk to us.
I hope so.
God bless everybody. Thank you very much.